my name is Erin from the Instagram account Romance Tarot Witch. I'm back with another video. This one is going to be all about what this Leo full moon that is coming up is going to mean for you astrologically. So we're going to go through every single rising sign. We're going to go through the things that you kind of can expect, you know, what you should look out for. Full moons are really intense times of release. They tend to be very dramatic, and being in the sign of Leo, one of the most dramatic signs in just in the world, like you're talking full drama, full intensity, full releasing of anything that needs to be released in that topic and area of life for you. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start from the beginning with Aries. And as always, find the timestamp below for you to see what this full moon is going to be bringing up for you. And I will see you when it's your turn. All right? Hi Aries. How you doing? This is going to be what you can expect on this full moon in Leo. So, wow, this is happening in your 5th house of creativity, children, you know, some bound chicka wow wow stuff, because we can't talk about that on YouTube. And it's going to be creating this T-square, right? And a T-square is when you have one planet that's in opposition to another, and both those planets are squaring another planet. So it makes like this T-square. So for you, this is going to be coming up around the topics of a full release around how you're doing your creativity, something happening with your children, something that has to do with like a casual relationship, and it's going to be kind of rubbing up against your Aquarius 11th house. So there's going to be like this sense of having to either choose your children over your friends, or like, you know, an organization that you're associated with is in like this complete opposition to how you want to be creative in your own life, and then they're both kind of challenged by your Taurus 2nd house, where you have Mars, where the topics of like money, assets, and your belongings are coming into play. So this could mean, you know, oh, I want to work for this organization, but it's not really creative, but I really need the money. Or, you know, my kids are acting up and really doing something with my friend that made them upset, and now I have to pay because they broke something. You know, like keeping with these themes of like, really, it's like your creativity, these 5th house, really fun and awesome place to have, like, if you do have placements in your Leo 5th house, that's awesome. But this creativity versus friendships, organizations, all kind of being challenged by this, how you're handling your money. So for some advice, one thing we don't want to do is we never want to do any kind of spells or rituals on a full moon. And I know that's like so the opposite of what most people say online. They're like, oh, it's a full moon, get your intentions, release. Well, the only thing about that is that there's going to be the sun and the moon are going to be in a full opposition, which is pretty gnarly in astrology. It's pretty intense. That's why the full moon is such a big time of like fully releasing. It's this big oppositional point where the sun and the moon are completely on the other side. And that's why it has that full illumination. So for you, my suggestion is really check in with your family if you have kids. Really check in with your friends if you've been having issues with your friends. Get really aware about how you are spending your money and how that's affecting either your children, your creativity, your fun life, and how that's affecting your friends, groups, and organizations. This can also come up around social media. Like the 11th house very much deals with social media. So there might be something that's going on with your social media account that might be really kind of intense, like some kind of releasing point that's affecting your finances. This is a really dramatic full moon that is a little bit intense, but overall it's kind of teaching us like what we need to release around those topics of children, around fun and pleasure and your creativity in order for you to have better growth in the future. So that's what I have for you, Aries. Let me know if it resonates. Let me know what you've been going through lately. I'd love to hear from you. Hello, Taurus Rising. So this is what this Leo full moon is going to mean for you. Your Leo full moon is going to be happening in your 4th house of home and family. It's going to be in opposition with all of those planets in Aquarius in the 10th house of career, and it's going to be squaring the Mars and Uranus conjunction in your 1st house, having to deal with you. Now, that is just astrology talk for the fact that you're going to be dealing with having to navigate problems at home, or something that is being released at home, maybe coming up to a bit of an opposition with your job, with your career, and how it is affecting you personally. This could mean that there might be a bit of an injury that happens at home that prevents you from going to work. This could mean that, you know, you don't necessarily, there's some drama at home, there's some drama dealing with your family life or with your family, or something that has to do with your roots, your ancestors, or anything like that. Kind of like coming up against your relationships at work, you know, your career, your dream job, whatever that may be, and how you kind of fit into this, how you being a Taurus, because the rising sign is very much indicative of you the person, having to kind of like navigate this. And often the rising sign can also deal with the physical body, so I'd really be careful about injuries. Like, don't slip and fall, like, watch your step, you know, be very, like, careful. Having, like, Mars and Uranus in your 1st house can be really volatile, so you really want to be careful. Like I said, Leo full moons are really, really dramatic, because the sign itself is dramatic, so there might be some drama, some intensity, some craziness at home that you kind of have to navigate, maybe even at the last minute, that's like, you know, coming right up against your work. So my advice to you, as always, I wouldn't suggest doing any rituals or intentions on that day, but rather to just take care of yourself, take care of your body, relax, make sure that you are taking good care of yourself, because this transit is a little bit volatile, and what you don't want it to do is to end up being this situation where you end up hurting yourself or hurting another person by accident. And like with Mars and Uranus in your 1st house, accidents definitely can happen. But this is very much around the topics of, like I said, your home and family life versus your career, also having to tie yourself and your physical body into it. So moral of the story is, be careful, don't fall, don't trip, watch your surroundings, and make sure that, you know, things are going to be okay. There may be some drama, but it's drama that's going to help you further commit to your career, further commit to showing up fully in your home and family life. And ultimately, when it comes to any kind of opposition like this, we're really just dealing with, you know, how do we balance this with any kind of opposition? So if you can figure out a way to balance your home and family life, that's going to be amazing for this particular transit, and that's going to be emphasized in this particular transit. So that's what I have for you, Taurus. I hope that was helpful for you. Please let me know what is going on in your life. I'd love to hear about it. Hey, Gemini Risings. What is Leo full moon bringing up for you? If you are a writer, if you are someone who uses their words a lot, or if you work in education, or if you deal with the topics of communication, there's going to be a full release around the topics of communication, around mercurial topics like, you know, day-to-day tasks and things like that. So, and it's going to be in opposition to your 9th house in Aquarius, which if you are going to school, or you are trying to learn a new religion, or there's some kind of spiritual situation that's showing up, that's probably like, if you haven't seen my 2021 video about the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction, please go watch that, because that's going to kind of explain what's going on with your 9th house. But with this Leo full moon, there's this like drama around this writing and day-to-day tasks. And there might be like, if you're a writer, you might be finally releasing like writer's block, or if you're someone who's been struggling at school, you might be having this Leo full moon, and it might be really helping you understand a little bit more about yourself, about like how you write and how you communicate, and getting better with the way you communicate, as based on some dramatic events where maybe miscommunications are happening and communications are breaking down. There's also this square to your Taurus 12th house that has to do with self-undoing, with the way that you are dealing with your mind, the way that you are dealing with your mental health. So there's also this kind of sense of like learning how to better communicate, for the sake of being able to have peace of mind. You know, I feel like for a lot of Gemini risings, with having Mars and Uranus in your 12th house, this 12th house transit is probably kind of gnarly for you to begin with, and there's this sense of needing to be dedicated to be able to communicate how you are feeling, and communicate to others how you are feeling, and how that is affecting how you are learning things, maybe even at school, or if you're trying to do a particular task or certification program or something like that. There's this big emphasis on learning for you. But it kind of affecting you a little bit. Like, you know, you want to learn something, but you also have to take care of yourself. You also have to take care of your mental health. And you want to absorb all that knowledge because you're a Gemini rising and you have just this beautiful mercurial nature who wants to know knowledge for knowledge's sake, which is beautiful. But there's also a sense of you having to commit yourself to taking care of your mental health, and also getting really, really good with doing those daily tasks. And there might be like a full release around those daily tasks, or something that really breaks down in your daily tasks. Or maybe you have like a car, you know, like a tire goes out or something really small like that, that just reminds you that like, hey, like we gotta do better with this particular topic, so that I can communicate this better, so that I can explain this better. Really like a full release around being able to communicate better, to be able to speak better and more clearly. So that's what I have for you, Gemini risings. Please let me know how this resonates, what is happening, what is going on in your life right now. I'd love to hear about it, and I'll catch you later. Hey Cancer rising, so you're going to be getting a little bit of an extra show from this Leo full moon, because at 2:18 Eastern time, and whatever time that is for you, the rising sign where this full moon goes exact is going to be on your rising sign. So when this goes exact, it's going to be in the sign of Cancer rising. So what does this mean for you? This means that your finances, your assets, your possessions are going to be kind of in a bit of a opposition with your shared finances with someone else. This could mean, you know, this could mean you have roommates. This could mean you have a partner that you want to get better with finances, and there's like this releasing point where you're just like, you know, we need to get better with our finances. We need to commit to better. And it's both of these planets are squaring Uranus and Mars in Taurus in your 11th house. So that might mean that, you know, there's also some tension between you and your friends, some tension between you and your organization that you might work for, or wanting to be a part of an organization, but like needing to be aware of how this is going to affect you and another person, especially if you're sharing finances with them, if you are sharing a house with them, and things like that. There's so with this Leo full moon, what you're really looking at is a really big emphasis on your finances, on money, on the material world, and how that affects your relationship. How does your relationship to money affect your relationships? How does it affect your partner? How does it affect your friends? How does it affect, you know, the jobs that you want to work at? Are you working in the place that you want to work at right now? Or is there an organization that you want to work for, but you feel like you can't because it's going to affect your relationships? These are the kind of questions that show up when it comes to these types of full moons. This full moon in Leo is dramatic, so there's probably going to be drama around your finances. There's probably going to be drama around, you know, your possessions. Sometimes with the second house, it can have to do with like your vehicles, your cars, your, you know, your stuff. It's very much about the possessions, it's about your stuff. So there could be something that goes wrong with your car that really makes you be like, you know what, I need to have a savings account. I can't have this happening anymore. I can't like depend on other people to come and rescue me money wise. I need to be responsible for myself. The second house also can deal with how you nourish yourself, how you deal with your body and with things that have to do with you, like self-possession. So this also might be a commitment to being healthier, and because of something that happens dramatically with your body, and something that has to do with someone that you're sharing finances with and things like that. Though second house can very much be mostly about money, I found it's very much about your possessions, your assets. It also can be about, you know, how you nourish yourself as well. So with all that in mind, you know, take what resonates and let me know what's going on in your life, what's happening, all the different things that's happening during this Leo full moon. I'd love to hear about it. Risings, you are stealing the show for this Leo full moon because this is happening on your rising sign and it's going to be dramatic. So Leo full moons are a full release and something coming to an end going on with yourself, specifically because this is your rising sign. This can be very romantic in nature because it is in opposition with all of the planets that are in your 7th house of partnership. So this could mean, you know, something coming to the end around you on your side dealing with a partner, a best friend, like something coming to a close. And then these two planets are also squaring Mars and Uranus in your 10th house. So your job might be getting in the way of a particular relationship. There might be a marriage or some kind of really serious situation going on that has to do with your partner, an engagement, you know, a commitment, or like a full release of something. So like it very much can be like some kind of marriage or some kind of like, you know, we're finally doing this. This is finally coming to a close on these topics of yourself and other people. Very, very rarely is the 7th house about like enemies, but this like full moon is so dramatic that like I almost want to say that some of you guys may be dealing with like a rival like at work, or like a rival in like your industry who might be also kind of like giving you trouble a little bit, and you coming to completion around this topic. You're just kind of like, you know what, I don't really need to prove myself for this person. I don't really need to prove myself to anybody. And you coming to a place where you feel like you've released and shed a layer of yourself, and it allows you to deal better with, you know, topics of work and also with the other people in your life, with your relationships, your romantic relationships, or even your best friend, because often the 7th house can represent like a really close friend, a best friend, or something like that. So let me know if this resonates for you. This thing looks really dramatic, so I'm kind of curious to see like if you're Leo rising, like what's been going on. Just with having Saturn and Jupiter conjunction in your 7th house, I know a lot of you guys are going to be committed to romantic relationships, getting engaged, you know, doing things that are going to be, you know, just like a yearly theme of relationships. This is like a huge relationship activation, or a romantic relationship activation, or best friend, or someone like dealing with someone who's just very openly in your life, that is like the other party in your life. All right, so that's what I have for you. Let me know how it resonates. Let me know what's going on, and I will hear from you soon. Hi Virgo Rising. So what does this Leo full moon have for you? This is going to be happening in your 12th house. Your 12th house of self-undoing, a full release of the mental art of some sort, like a full release of you being able to come to a close with something around your mental health, or like making a commitment to something in your mental health. Now, if you have planets in your 12th house already, this would mean that it's been in opposition with planets in your 6th house of health, where all these Aquarius planets are, for a while. So you've been trying to balance, or this full moon for you is going to be about trying to balance your mental health versus your physical health, physical body, how you deal with your coworkers, how you deal with your day-to-day routine, how you deal with all these like menial tasks that are just like not the fun parts of life. I wish that this was not like as doom and gloom, but as someone who is a Virgo rising, I've been having this Aquarius conjunction in my 6th house of health, and I have definitely been feeling it. So, and I'm sure that you have too, whether you mean stepping up in serious responsibility as a coworker. There's going to be like this full release in your Leo 12th house where you're going to be like, you know, I'm releasing these things that's been holding me back. Around these topics of maybe like stubbornness around not wanting to deal with your health, deal with your coworkers, have a better routine, be more productive, you know, all of these different things that you might have been struggling with. There's like this full culmination in your Leo 12th house where you're like, you know what, I need to commit to doing something like better than this. There's like this this thing coming to a close around those topics. Now, both of these planets are going to be squaring the Mars and Uranus conjunction in the 9th house. And in your 9th house, this is going to be about your religion. This is going to be about your spirituality, your higher education. So there's this sense of like, oh, you know, I need to deal with my mental health, and I also need to deal with my physical health, but this might be going against something that I believe in, or my school, or, you know, my higher education, or my mentor, or something like that. Like, this is kind of affecting the way that I am viewing my spirituality, or maybe there's something kind of being challenged with your spirituality, because the 12th house can be very much about spirituality and being in an outer worldly situation. I wouldn't be surprised if some of y'all had some outer worldly experiences, some you know, some psychedelic almost like experiences where you just go to another world or another plane or talk to your ancestors or something like that, because the 12th house is very much a deeply spiritual place. And having Leo there in the first place, there's this very intense energy being put there, this intense releasing energy, and during the full moon the veil is already thinner. So listen to your intuition, listen to your body, listen to the signs, look for synchronicities and things like that, because if there's going to be any time where this is going to probably happen for you, it definitely will be probably during this time. So I want to know how this is landing for you. What have you been up to with your health? What have you been up to with your mental health? What have you been up to with school, spirituality, and all of that? Please let me know. I would love to hear from you. All right? See you later. Hi, Libra Rising. So this is going to be your reading for what to expect for this Leo full moon that is going to be happening in your 11th house of friendship. Okay, there's going to be a release around friendship, organizations, how you relate to an organization, a chapter closing. You know, you guys that might have been on contract with some kind of organization, and that's coming to a close, or there might be a friendship that's coming to a close, or like an aspect of your friendship that is coming to a close, and how this is in opposition with your creative flow, and you have to kind of balance this your creativity, or if you have kids, balancing your children with this full release in this 11th house and 11th house topics. Now this is going to be making a T-square, or both of these planets are going to be squaring Taurus in your 8th house of shared finances. Now if you've been dealing with this transit, this gnarly transit with Mars and Uranus, especially if you were born in the daytime, this is going to be a little bit intense for you. Dealing with Mars and Uranus in your 8th house of finances, you know, you might really feel like at this particular time that you were like maybe not doing your part as much as you would like to in a, you know, in a relationship or in a roommate situation where you feel like you're questioning, or there's some volatility around your shared finances, or even the person that you're dealing with, their money is having a hard time during this, you know, maybe this time with this pandemic, and you're having kind of like this releasing of energy around friendships and organizations, as it's also kind of affecting your shared finances with other people. You know, there might be a sense of you wanting to move in with somebody else, or there might be a sense of you wanting to live a different kind of lifestyle, but it affecting a friendship. Or there might be a sense of you wanting to get more serious around your creativity, your pleasures, and your fun stuff, but you feel like you it might be affecting a friendship or a situation, and you want to deal with that. So if that is the case, if you're dealing with these topics, never a time to do rituals or intentions on a full moon just because of the gnarly opposition that comes with it. But, allowing yourself to have that space to dedicate yourself to your creativity, but also knowing that you don't have to lose your friends or the things that you care about because of that. This is a very dramatic full moon, so you might be full of drama. Like, there may be some drama in your friends group, maybe some drama in a little organization that you deal with, maybe some drama online, that you are not used to dealing with. And ultimately, you're gonna be okay, Libra Rising, but there might be some drama with your friends. There might be some drama with these things, but it's only going to further reinforce your commitment to your creativity, to your children, to the pleasures in your life, and being able to open up more space for that for you, because this is something that you kind of need right now. All right, so that's what I have for you. Let me know how it resonates. Let me know what's happening in your life. I love to hear about it, and we are going to be on to the next one. See you later, Libra. Hey Scorpio Rising, this is going to be your Leo full moon reading and what it's going to mean for you. So right off the bat, you're having this Leo full moon in your 10th house. This is your 10th house of career, okay? So shit is getting shaken up in your career, okay? Stuff is getting really shaken up. There are things that you can expect. There are things that are going to be a little bit like a full release or a chapter closing when it comes to your career. And this is going to be kind of in a little bit of an opposition to your 4th house. Your 4th house has to do with your family. It has to do with your roots. It has to do with your home life. So you might have some issues with your family, with your parents, with your loved one, that might be kind of going against your career, or there might be some kind of release during your career. That's also just like tying in some of these family or roots, or something very nostalgic for you. Which is like funny. I have a friend who's kind of going through a little bit of this, trying to figure out where she's going next in her career. And like it's about these nostalgic like topics. So that's like the first thing that I think about when I think about this. And then you're going to be having it both squared to your 7th house of partnership, where you have Mars and Uranus there in Taurus. So there's a little bit of shaking up when it comes to your partnership. There's a little bit of intensity when it comes to your partnership right now. And it's kind of being tied in to these topics of career and family. Like, you are trying to navigate, how do I deal with my family? How do I deal with my roots? How do I deal with these people that I care about? How do I deal with my childhood, my past? And how is this affecting my career? What chapter needs to be closed in my career for me to move forward and further commit to building a better life when it comes to even making my own family or dealing with my family? And how my partner, how my best friend, how somebody who or even a rival is tying into that. So there is a big concentration. This is happening right on your angles. So like this is going to be very, very intense for you because you are Scorpio rising, and this is a fixed sign, just like with Leo, Taurus, as well as Aquarius. Like, this is going to be a little bit intense. So if that is the case, you want to navigate with care. There is going to be probably a chapter around career that is closing for you, and that's okay. Being able to shift in life in a way and not be afraid of the shifts that happen in life, because so much of our decision making can be caught up in fear. And especially you as a Scorpio rising, like, you guys tend to make your decisions out of like protecting yourself. Like, you try to like protect yourself earlier than maybe the threat is actually there. So in this case, like, when it comes to any type of chapter closing, when it has to do with your career, allow it to happen and do it with grace, because what's going on to the other side is going to be a commitment that has to do with your family, your home life, and all of those private topics. And that might be more of a focus for you in this year, and that's not bad. That's a good thing. You want to be able to focus on a lot of different things. So that's what I have for you. That's what this Leo full moon is going to be for you. It's a big old chapter closing when it comes to work. So let me know how that resonates for you. Let me know what's going on in your life. I can't wait to hear about it, and I will catch you later. Hello, Sagittarius Rising. How you doing? This is going to be your reading for what this Leo full moon is bringing up for you. So this Leo full moon is going to be happening in your ninth house. Your ninth house of spirituality, of higher education. There's a chapter closing. Maybe you're ending school. Maybe you are walking away from a religion. Maybe you are closing up a particular thing that has to do with spirituality, with religion, or even travel. You know, maybe you're finishing up a trip and you're coming back home after being away for a while. And it's kind of in a little bit of an opposition to third house topics like day-to-day tasks, you know, nurturing kind of tasks, as well as writing and communicating, like being able to communicate. Now, this entire year is very much about you communicating better, about third house topics in general, because that's where you have Saturn and Jupiter. But it's going to be highlighted a little bit as an opposition with this Leo full moon, because Leo, every full moon is a moon opposed the sun, going exact in astrology. So every single time a full moon happens, there's always going to be a bit of tension between the opposite house topics. And this really, really works well as a technique when you are looking at astrology in general. Like you know, every time you're looking at astrology, like, oh, if there's a full moon, then for me, wherever it's going to be in that sign, I know the opposite sign's also going to be highlighted. And for you, that's going to be the third house: communication, learning. Even sometimes mentors and teachers kind of show up with the third house as well. So maybe even reconnecting, or you're like connecting with mentors, or connecting or getting on your writing stuff, and that's been a big thing for you. But you're having this chapter close when it comes to education, when it comes to religion, when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to travel, and even divination. Like maybe there's some kind of divination that you heard about or did in the past that's now coming to a close, because the ninth house can also very much deal with divination and getting those messages and things like that. And this is going to be, both these planets, the moon and the sun, are going to be squared Mars and Uranus in your sixth house. And the sixth house has to deal with your bodily health, co-workers, your day-to-day tasks, and your day-to-day life. So there might be a bit of a challenge with your health right now. And I don't know what you're going through. It doesn't have to be something that's like crazy, like you're sick. Maybe for some of you it is. But, you know, this is kind of being highlighted where like you're like, oh, okay, you know, this chapter that I'm closing is also tying in topics of my health, of my coworkers, of my day-to-day tasks. I need to get on routine. I need to have a better routine. And maybe you've had a really irregular routine right now. With Taurus being there, with that Mars and Uranus, your lifetime might have been really, really irregular when it comes to it. So that might be kind of highlighting itself again. But mostly really looking out for a chapter closing around ninth house topics of higher education, of school, of divination, of spirituality and higher spiritual concepts. Like even like deciding that you're, you know, finally walking away from some kind of religion can very much be a very dramatic Leo full moon in the ninth house. So let me know how this resonates. Let me know what's going on in your life. I can't wait to hear from you. And with that, catch you later. Hello, Capricorn Rising. Now, I gotta tell you, this Leo full moon's probably gonna feel like nothing compared to the last few years of your life, where you've had Saturn and Pluto and everything else in your first house and just been taking a beat down until Saturn finally moved into Aquarius. So, honey, I really don't feel like you have to worry that much. But there is going to be some highlighting of your shared finances with another person and your commitment to your assets. So there's going to be like a chapter closing around shared finances, around other people's money, and things of that, you know, really just getting a handle on you know, maybe some stubbornness around the way that you've been dealing with money with another person, or maybe you've been like, and furthering committing to having more assets, having more money. This year has very much been about financial blessings and building up your finances. And maybe there is a situation where it's just kind of like being highlighted. And then there is this Taurus Uranus and Mars that's squaring both of them in your 5th house. So it's like, how does my shared finances and my money affecting my creativity? How is it affecting my children? How is it affecting the things that I want to do that are fun in life, that are joyful, that make me happy, that make my inner child happy? Like, how can I fund this? How can I make this more important to me? How do I do that? Like, there's a really big sense of that in this Leo full moon. But mostly you're really just dealing with your shared finances. You're dealing with the topics of other people's money, other people's stuff, other people. It's the 8th house really, really has to do with like other people. So that's what you kind of have to look out for with this Leo full moon. Let me know what you're going through. Let me know what's happening in your life. I know for you guys are kind of catching a break a little bit, which I know must be nice. Like this Leo full moon, you may not even feel it just based off of the last few years, but let me know. I still want to hear from you. And with all that, I'll catch you later, Capricorn Rising. There's a sense of you having to release and close a chapter with your coworkers, close a chapter in your day-to-day tasks, and close a chapter within the boundaries of how you're dealing with your day-to-day life. So closing a chapter around your routine, the way you eat, the way you cook your food, the way you do groceries, like all of those little mundane tasks that we don't think about, and maybe creating a system that really does work for you. And you kind of showing up as this person who is a little bit more dedicated to your mental health because you've released a certain chapter around your routine. Maybe you realize you don't need a routine. Maybe you start to let go of the idea of needing a routine, the idea of needing these things. So you find yourself in a much better like headspace where you can further commit to your mental health, to the spiritual world, to learning about the spiritual world and being involved in it. Because you guys, like this whole entire year, you guys are just like in the veil with this crazy 12th house craziness. So yeah, this is also going to be squaring your Taurus, Mars, and Uranus. That's going to be transiting in your, what house is that? That's going to be in your 3rd house. So writing, communication, really just like having a chapter close around your coworkers, your daily routine, your health, and all of that. And then it kind of like also wanting to do some writing, wanting to do some communication, wanting to be able to use your voice in a really amazing way. So that's kind of what you are dealing with, having to choose between your mental health or your coworkers in day-to-day life and the way you want to communicate and the way you want to shine and the way you want to write. So let me know how this resonates for you. Let me know what's going on in your life as always, and I will catch you later. I will see you next time. Hey Aquarius Rising, this Leo full moon is going to be kind of dramatic for you, especially when it comes to your romantic life. I don't know who, you might be seeing, but this is going to be happening in your 7th house of partnership, as well as it's going to be squaring the Mars and Uranus in your 5th house of sex, creativity, and children. So really, really intense romantic activations for you when it comes to this Leo full moon. There might be a chapter closing when it comes to a relationship, like you guys deciding that you're going a specific way in your relationship, or something dealing with a best friend, or someone dealing with even a rival of yours. But there's a sense of a chapter closing, a intensity, a something closing in this particular situation. So, it could be you and your partner moving out. It could be you and your partner having a bit of a fight. Like it could be you realizing and recommitting to yourself after having to release certain aspects of your relationships. Maybe seeing that you're giving too much in a relationship and that you really need to focus on yourself right now. Or you haven't, you're focusing so much in on a partner that you haven't gotten a chance to focus on your creativity, on the things that you want to do in the world and the things that you really care. So because of this, you can expect it to be a little bit dramatic when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to the other person in your life, but ultimately you recommitting to yourself, recommitting to your growth, your personal growth, whether that be your physical body or just like a new mindset, like it's happening to you. All of this Saturn and Jupiter, everything's happening to you in your first house. So that's kind of what I have for you, Aquarius Rising. Let me know if it resonates. Let me know if you are in a relationship and what's going on with your romantic partner, because like it's pretty intense, All right. Hello, Pisces Rising. So you're having this Leo full moon in your sixth house of health, day-to-day tasks, and your coworkers. So this could mean really releasing an idea around your coworkers, around your health, getting a little bit more serious about your health, and releasing a certain mindset around how you're dealing with your coworkers, how you're dealing with work, and how you're dealing with your day-to-day tasks. Now, this is going to be in opposition with your 12th house, and your 12th house has Saturn, it has Jupiter, it has the sun in it. There's a lot of emphasis on your 12th house right now. This is the spiritual world, and also you dealing with your mental health and mental undoing, like some of mental suffering. So being able to look at this mental suffering that you might be going through and being able to put it into perspective so that it can be great and long-term growth. If you want to know more about that, please go watch my 2021 video. It goes over the entire year about this Jupiter Saturn conjunction. But besides the point, there is a sense of you, like there's a sense of you having to release and close a chapter with your coworkers, close a chapter in your day-to-day tasks, and close a chapter within the boundaries of how you're dealing with your day-to-day life. So closing a chapter around your routine, the way you eat, the way you cook your food, the way you do groceries, like all of those little mundane tasks that we don't think about, and maybe creating a system that really does work for you. And you kind of showing up as this person who is a little bit more dedicated to your mental health because you've released a certain chapter around your routine. Maybe you realize you don't need a routine. Maybe you start to let go of the idea of needing a routine, the idea of needing these things. So you find yourself in a much better like headspace where you can further commit to your mental health, to the spiritual world, to learning about the spiritual world and being involved in it. Because you guys, like this whole entire year, you guys are just like in the veil with this crazy 12th house craziness. So yeah, this is also going to be squaring your Taurus, Mars, and Uranus. That's going to be transiting in your, what house is that? That's going to be in your third house. So writing, communication, really just like having a chapter close around your coworkers, your daily routine, your health, and all of that. And then it kind of like also wanting to do some writing, wanting to do some communication, wanting to be able to use your voice in a really amazing way. So that's kind of what you are dealing with, having to choose between your mental health or your coworkers in day-to-day life and the way you want to communicate and the way you want to shine and the way you want to write. So let me know how this resonates for you. Let me know what's going on in your life as always, and I will catch you later. I will see you next time.